Welcome to our Election Accountability Assembly. My name is Margaret Marquardt. I chair the Anglican Equal Justice Unit, and I've also been chairing the Election Assembly for this evening. And tonight I am co-chairing this section with Carlos. I'd like to start by welcoming the candidates for Mayor and Council in the Vancouver municipal election who are with us tonight. Adrian Carr, the Green Party of Vancouver. And as I speak your name, if you just come to the front, because I know there were a lot of photographers who'd like a picture of the four of you. So Adrian, if you could just come just at the front here, and the rest join as I speak your name. For Kirk Lapointe, the Nonpartisan Association. For Gregor Robertson, Vision Vancouver. And Mina Wong, who's Coalition of Progressive Electors. And so we'll pause for a moment for the photographers. Okay, you have 30 seconds. Okay, thank you very much. If you would take your seats again, please. Thank you. Tonight is another landmark for Metro Vancouver Alliance. We have over 50 diverse organizations represented here tonight, and they all have worked very hard over the last year to listen to their members' concerns and develop concrete proposals to make a better city. Tonight, we'll put our proposals and our commitments to the candidates. We've also invited candidates from around the region to join us, because the issues that we'll hear about tonight extend beyond Vancouver borders. And so, to the other councils, to let you know that we will be coming to a council near you soon.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Carlos Moreira. I'm from Unit 4111. I'm pleased to have you all here. Along with Margaret, I will be the co-chair for this part of this evening program, and I would like to begin by acknowledging that we are here tonight meeting on the unceded traditional lands of the Coast Salish First Nations. And I would like to welcome our brother Scott Clark, who is going to welcome us to his land. Brother.
Thank you. My name is Scott Clark. My Salish name is Sui. I come from the Beecher Bay Coast Salish Nation. I too want to recognize the 50-plus organizations that make up the Metro Vancouver Alliance and the delegates who've worked very hard over the last 3 years to develop a listening campaign and coming up with the 4 items that we've identified for all major political parties that are present here today. I also want to recognize and thank NPA, COPE, Green, and Vision for all being here for what is the first of many processes that will be engaged in at MVA in changing how politics are done here in Vancouver and looking to see this grow province-wide and nationwide. I want to talk a little briefly about Aboriginal Life in Vancouver Enhancement, a live society. We're a new organization, relatively 4 years. We're very different than most organizations out there, nonprofits. We firmly believe that as Indigenous peoples, there's a new reality for Indigenous peoples. Time for change, time for inclusion, time for meaningful engagement. Enough of advisories, enough tokenism. We're here. We mean to be here and take our rightful place with our friends and our allies in the labor, in the faith, in the NGO, in the business community, and most importantly, to have our voices heard in all major political organizations that are here in Vancouver, provincially and federally as well. We intend to stand strong, shoulder to shoulder with our allies, working on the best interests and supporting our most vulnerable children and families, taking our places at the table. Only on June 26th of 2014, the Supreme Court of Canada finally recognized that the Indigenous title exists and they must get our consent for partnerships and development. This is our time together. It's exciting times. The City of Vancouver has paved the way for cities right across this country. They were the ones that adopted the Urban Aboriginal People Study, which showed and shared what I'm sharing with you, that we want to take our place shoulder to shoulder. The City of Vancouver also adopted the United Nations Declarations on the Rights of Indigenous People, and to our knowledge, it's the only city in North America that's done that. The City of Vancouver also developed the Truth and Reconciliation process and has created a legacy and ongoing engagement with urban Aboriginal people and honoring the First Nations territory we're on. With that, I also want to share, just before I close, that we are truly honored and truly blessed to be amongst the delegates here and to send a message to all political parties. Talk is cheap. MVA is here to hold all political parties accountable to the positions based on what we've heard over the last 3 years, and we're really looking forward to the election and mobilizing our people throughout the City of Vancouver to get out, be counted, and vote. So thank you all for being here.
Thank you so much, Scott. We really appreciate your kind words and for welcoming us into Coast Salish land. Metro Vancouver Alliance held its founding foundations last March, and it was an exciting night. And I would like to know how many of you here tonight were present on March 19th. Could you please stand up? That is wonderful, really wonderful to see you back here. And for those of you who is the first time that come into a Metro Vancouver event, welcome, and we'll hope to see you back in the future as well.
So tonight is the beginning of a new kind of dialogue in the public square. This is not a candidates' debate. Tonight is not a town hall meeting. And here's what it'll look like. The members of the Alliance have chosen 4 issues that are in need of intention and improvement. We want to see Metro Vancouver become a more friendly and inclusive city. We imagine a city on the move with an accessible and reliable transit system, and we hope for a fairer city where wages actually meet the cost of living. And we want a better house city where everyone can afford a decent place to live. We will introduce these issues to you one at a time tonight, sharing stories from our members, sharing from their lives, and our proposed concrete steps that will begin to ease that particular pressure on our families, our friends, our neighbors. MVA leaders have been working on these issues for months, and tonight they will make their presentations.
After the presentations, we will invite each candidate who has agreed to join us to respond to our commitment and proposals. We will be asking them, if you succeed in winning office, will you take these concrete steps with us and help us achieve solutions our membership has identified? Each candidate will have a minute to respond to each of our commitments and proposals. We will move the order along alphabetically with each of the questions.
MVA is completely nonpartisan politically. Our selection process for the candidates tonight reflects that. We have asked one representative of each political party that has held a Vancouver City Council seat within the past 2 terms to join us on stage tonight.
Later in the evening, we will hear the responses of the candidates. We will wrap up the evening with summary of and on an invitation to all of you in this room tonight, to everyone, to become part of the problem solving and community building that is Metro Vancouver Alliance.
As MVA, we are deeply concerned about the struggle of so many who are facing poverty, homelessness, unemployment, lack of affordable housing, social isolation. And we are aware of the underlying issues that contribute to many of these challenges. And what we are doing tonight is just the beginning, steps towards resolving these. We thank the candidates for their attendance and for the very serious ways that you have taken our agenda. We seek a working relationship with them, which will continue after the election. And so tonight I'm asking each one of you, everyone in this hall, as we listen to each candidate's response, whether we agree or disagree, to show respect. Soon we'll hear from all of the organizations that make up MVA. But first, we want to acknowledge our invited guests. It's important to note that representatives of all of the municipal and provincial parties of all partisan organizations within the region have been invited tonight to observe. Most MLAs have had to send regrets because, as you know, the provincial legislature is in session this week. And so we are particularly appreciative of those who are able to join us tonight. And please, as I say your name, could you stand to be recognized? So we hope that in the room tonight is George Heyman, who is Vancouver Fairview, Shane Simpson, who is with Vancouver Hastings, and Spencer Chandra Herbert with Vancouver West End. We also have community leaders with us tonight, and would you please stand and be recognized as we call your name? For Ron Strip, who is with Canadian Labour Congress. Diane Wood with the BC Forum. Andrea McBride, Unifor BC Regional Council. Mark Gifford, Vancouver Foundation. Andrea Lee, Vancouver Foundation. Jonathan Casian, Columbia Institute. Seth Klein, Canadian Centre for Policy Alternatives. Adrian Montani with First Call. Deb Bryant, Association of Neighborhood Houses. Am Johal, Simon Fraser University. Joe Barrett, who is one of our founding members of MVA. Archdeacon John Stevens, who is present on behalf of Bishop Melissa Skelton, who has sent her regrets tonight. She's Bishop of the Anglican Diocese of New Westminster. Thank you, John. Irene Lansinger, BC Federation of Labour. And Jack McDermott, who's BC Teachers Federation. And as I mentioned, we have a large number of candidates tonight and municipal politicians here with us, including Darryl Masato, who's mayor of the city of North Vancouver and who also spoke at our founding in March. Would all of you who are candidates municipally or federally or provincially in upcoming elections, would you please stand to be recognized as a whole? Thank you. Thank you. You're very welcome, and thank you for coming with us tonight.
Well, the Metro Vancouver Alliance is part of a 75-year-old global network, the Industrial Areas Foundation, that spans Canada, the US, UK, Germany, Australia, and Hong Kong. We're proud to be part of this global network, and in particular, to the sisters organizations in Washington State, the South Alliance and the North-South Alliance.
I had the opportunity to see the global work of the Industrial Areas Foundation when I visited 4 of our sister organizations in UK this past July. I met with organizers and members of Birmingham, Nottingham, and Cardiff citizens, as well as connecting with the larger community of UK citizens that works throughout the whole of the UK. At MVA's founding in March of this year, we received greetings from our twin organization, Cardiff Citizen in Wales, which is founding its own alliance on October the 20th. And so we, as members of Metro Vancouver Alliance, have prepared a video, and we're sending them a greeting in return. And so you can see that MVA and our way of building relationships of 75 years and working together, that we are not isolated from a global community for social change. We are part of a history of engaging real issues in our society.
Roll call is the heart of every Metro Vancouver Alliance meeting. This is the way we demonstrate our diversity and the strength of our membership. Delegates, if you are here with your member organization, when your representatives start to speak, please stand or raise your hand so that we can recognize you, and I will ask everyone to please hold your applause until the representatives from all institution members have spoken.
So I'd ask that the roll call members would begin to line up, and you've got mics on the right and the left, and introduce yourself. Okay, we're going to begin now.
Good evening. My name is Bob Dahl, and tonight I am representing the Canadian Baptists of Western Canada. We are a community of about 180 churches from Manitoba West and North. And we are very proud and excited to be part of the Metro Vancouver Alliance.
Good evening. My name is Mike Glanville. I represent the downtown east side Roman Catholic parishes. We have 40 delegates here this evening, and we are very proud and excited to be members of the Metro Vancouver Alliance.
Good evening. My name is Maria Fenfonte. Tonight, I'm representing St. Mary's Roman Catholic Church, and we are very proud and excited to be a member of the MVA.
Hi, my name is Madison Slovin. The organization that I'm representing is Habonim Dror. We're a group of Jewish youth fighting for social justice through informal education and community building, and we're really excited and proud to be part of the MVA.
Hello, my name is Karen Brown. I'm representing St. Augustine's Catholic Parish, and we're proud and excited to be members of Metro Vancouver Alliance.
Good evening. My name is Mike Clark. I'm with the BC Government and Service Employees Union. We have 10 delegates with us tonight, and we represent over 65,000 members across the province.
Good evening. My name is Kathy Boyce, and tonight I'm representing QP Local 23. We're very committed to the MVA vision of a broad-based alliance working together for the common good.
Good evening, my name is Bob Jackson. I'm with the Public Service Alliance of Canada. We represent about 14,000 members in British Columbia, 4,000 of those here in Vancouver, and we stand in full support of the MVA in its achieving its ultimate goals. Thank you.
And you will get a chance to applaud at the very end.
Good evening, Stefan von Sachowski. I'm here tonight representing the Vancouver and District Labor Council. We represent over 60,000 workers in the Vancouver area, and we're very proud and excited to be here as part of the Metro Vancouver Alliance.
Good evening, Steve Bailey, St. Lawrence Anglican Church, part of the New Westminster Diocese of the Anglican Church of Canada, and we too are committed to the MVA vision of a broad-based alliance of faith groups, labor organizations, community organizations, NGOs, working together for the common good.
My name is Victoria Marie, and I represent Our Lady of Guadalupe Tonantzin community. and we're excited and happy to be here.
Good evening. My name is Jack McDermott. I am representing the BC Teachers Federation. We have 41,000 members, and we are proud to be a sponsoring organization of the MVA.
Hi, Barry Robertson. We're here with I'm here with 4 delegates from the Longhouse Native Ministry Church, and the Longhouse is one of the founding members of MVA.
And just remind the delegates in your organization to stand when your person's at the mic.
Good evening. My name is Nigel Hagan. I'm proud to represent the Anglican Eco-Justice League of the Diocese of New Westminster, and we are honored to support or to be part of MBA's work to reduce poverty and isolation and provide safe and affordable housing and transit. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Karen Land, and I'm from Gloria Day Lutheran Church. We're proud and excited to be members of MVA.
Hello, I'm Mary Brown from St. James Church in the downtown east side, and I'm really pleased that it is not just our social justice group, but the whole church has now decided to join MVA. We're delighted.
Good evening, my name is Brenda Coombs, and tonight I'm representing the QP Metro District Council. We have 4 delegates here this evening, representing a total membership of 25,000 plus people.
Good evening, my name is Brittany Barnes, and I'm here tonight representing the Capilano School of Communications, the only university group to be in the MVA, so we're very proud and excited to be here tonight. Thank you.
Good evening, my name is Kathy Fukuyama, and I'm here representing the Bachelor of Science in Nursing program at Vancouver Community College, so we are part of the post-secondary as well.
Hi there, my name's Andrew Christie. I'm here on behalf of the Association of Neighborhood Houses of BC. We're really proud and excited to be here.
Hi, my name is Joel Kimsey, representing Servant Partners, and we are proud members of MVA.
Hello, my name is Bill Lightbaum, and I represent Alive. I'm an Aboriginal person, as a matter of fact, and you heard our executive director speaking a little bit earlier. And we work basically on the east side of Vancouver, and particularly in the area where a lot of our Aboriginal people live. We have 30 delegates present tonight, and we're here because we're interested in seeing changes made in the community to the benefit of everybody. Thank you.
My name is Ellen Woodsworth, Women Transforming Cities with the Hot Pink Paper campaign. We're proud to be members of Metro Vancouver Alliance, and in our Hot Pink Paper campaign, affordable housing, transit, social isolation, and income and poverty are key issues, plus 6 more issues that are important to women and girls in cities. Thank you.
Good evening, I'm Luella Vincent, and I'm here representing the Hospital Employees Union. We have 40 members and 43,000 members strong, and we are proud and pleased to be a member of this proud organization.
Good evening. My name is Idem Ituk. Tonight I am representing Canadian Union of Postal Workers, Vancouver local. We are 6 delegates here representing 3,000 workers. We are proud to be member of MVA.
Good evening, my name is Lisa Guevara, and I represent St. Joseph, the Worker Catholic Parish in Richmond, which consists of around 8,600 members. And we are very delighted to be here and are deeply committed to the vision of MBA of working together for social change. Thank you.
Good evening, my name is Jerry Grigg. I'm here with Unifor Local 465. There's 4 delegates here tonight out of a possible 80, and we're very proud to be part of the MVA.
Good evening, my name is Mark Trail Jensen. I'm up here speaking for the 44 members of St. Catherine's Church back there, and we're very proud to throw our support by an organization that will tackle the big issues in our future.
Hi there, my name's Wanda Mulholland. I'm representing the Burnaby Task Force on Homelessness. There are 4 delegates here tonight from a 40-member organization. Happy to be here.
Hello, my name is Vivica Ellis. I'm representing the Single Mothers Alliance in British Columbia, a new grassroots organization founded in June, and we are very delighted to be members of the Metro Vancouver Alliance. Thank you.
Good evening, my name is Jill Kelly and I'm here representing REACH Community Health Center. We provide medical, dental, pharmacy, and multicultural services to people mainly in Vancouver East. And we are founding members of the Metro Vancouver Alliance, and we're very pleased, all 10 of us are very pleased to be here tonight. Thank you.
Good evening, I'm Jamie Crisostomo. Tonight I'm representing Fairview Baptist Church.
My name is Stephen Schachter. Good evening. I'm here on behalf of the Center for Israel and Jewish Affairs. We're committed to social justice, and we're honored to be part of this great organization. Thank you.
Good evening. I am Pastor Lorianne Boutin Crawford, and I'm here representing First Lutheran Church with 13 other delegates. And we are excited to be members of MVA working together for the common good.
Good evening. My name is Barbara Warner, and I'm here tonight representing St. Thomas Anglican Church in Vancouver. We have 22 delegates here tonight out of total members of 100. And we are all very excited and proud to be members of MVA. I also am here with South Vancouver Neighborhood House, where I am a volunteer with seniors. Thank you.
Good evening, my name is Elizabeth Mathers and I'm with St. Clement's Anglican Church in North Vancouver. There are 4 of us here and we're very proud to be here.
I'm Alan Aiken of the Presbyterian Church in Canada, more specifically the Social Justice Action Group of the Presbytery of Westminster. And we are deeply encouraged to be with such a diverse group, all of whom share values and goals that are very dear to us.
Good evening, my name is Jeanette McIntosh. I'm representing Kairos of the Metro Vancouver area, Canadian Ecumenical Justice Initiative, and greetings from BC Yukon group as well. Here tonight with me are a couple of other delegates, but also jointly 3 others from the Social Justice Action Committee, plus many more of you who are members of Kairos based on the denominational affiliations you have. So good to be here, working with you for social causes and justice together.
Good evening, my name is Nathan Woods. I represent Metro Vancouver bus drivers and Unifor Local 111. That's 3,700 workers affiliated with the MVA, and we're proud of the broad-based vision that the MVA brings into our region with the 4 topics that we're going to be all discussing for the next 6 months. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Kim Baumer from the United Food and Commercial Workers Local 1518. We represent 19,000 workers across British Columbia, and we're proud to be founding members of the MVA, and we have a dozen delegates here with me tonight. Thank you.
I'm Lane Walker from Jackson Avenue Housing Co-op. We house about 50 people at low-income housing in the downtown east side. We have 6 representatives here, I think maybe 4 now. And we're very glad to be here as one of the founding members, and it's good to see that we're pretty much doubling in only 7 months. Half of us stood up. 7 months later, we've almost doubled in size, and that's good to see that.
Good evening. My name is Wilson Liang from Carnegie Community Center Association with 5,000 members. We situate at the heart of downtown east side. We build communities that low-income people feel welcome. Thank you.
Good evening, I'm Mike Slotnick. I represent the Public Education Network Society of British Columbia. We advocate for a publicly funded, generously funded, a democratically governed public education system. We support the aims of the Metro Vancouver Alliance and action to address poverty, to address isolation and housing will benefit the students of our province. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Michael Goodman from Smart Change. We're a social movement building organization based on the internet. We're also a filmmaking social justice. You see our people here, we're filming tonight. We're also some of the original members of MVA. Support the goals fully and glad to see the movement growing.
So let's give a round of applause for all of the MVA organizations.
Hi, my name's Crystal Warner. I'm a federal public sector worker and the Metro Vancouver coordinator for my union, the Public Service Alliance of Canada. I will be your chairperson for this part of the evening. The agenda for this evening's assembly is laid out in the program on the front page. You will see the 4 broad commitments with a series of specific actions that we are asking of our candidates and which we are pledging to carry out ourselves. This agenda has not been thrown together. It's been nurtured, adjusted, negotiated, and determined by thousands of Metro Vancouver Alliance members. As MVA, we don't begin with the problem and look for people who want to solve it. We begin with the community. We begin with relationships, with getting to know each other. We share a public space, a city, a neighborhood. We want to know the folks we share it with and find out how they imagine it could be. We aren't a political party. We are building an organization powerful enough to enable people to act collectively. As you'll see tonight, we invite relationships with politicians and decision makers as we seek to collaborate in shaping and reshaping in our city and our common life. We are engaged citizens. We know that every person plays a part in our public life. As our roll call just showed, we are a community of many faces. MVA members learn citizenship, practice citizenship, and build the power needed to bring about positive change. I would now like to welcome the candidates to our stage. We are grateful to the candidates who have agreed to be part of this dialogue tonight. Welcome to Adrian Carr with the Green Party. Kirk LaPointe with the Nonpartisan Association. Gregor Robertson with Vision Vancouver. And Mina Wong with the Coalition of Progressive Electors. The candidates have had our proposals in advance. We have met with them and their teams to explain our agenda and answer their questions. Now I would like to welcome our co-chairs for the next part of our evening as we set out the issues.
Good evening. My name is Paul Taylor, and I'm the Executive Director of Gordon Neighbourhood House, and I'm here with the Association of Neighbourhood Houses of British Columbia. Social isolation was particularly high on the list of issues that was important to our members, and it's entwined with all of the others, and that's why we put it first. Please welcome Jane Fenrich and Frances Stone, who will present our proposal on social isolation.
Hello, my name is Jane Fenrich, and I'm a member of St. Thomas Anglican Church in Vancouver. For me, the refrain of this song represents something we can do to reduce social isolation. Draw the circle wide, draw it wider still. Let this be our song, no one stands alone, standing side by side. Draw the circle wide. That is exactly what we have to do. Draw the circle wide. Social contact is a basic need of all people and central to a healthy community. People surrounded by a network of close, supportive friends live an average of 15 years longer than those alone. Recently, the Vancouver Foundation reported that 1 in 4 people felt socially isolated, disconnected from their community, lonely, and often depressed. In the Lower Mainland, it's estimated that 50,000 people suffered from depression last year, and 500 died from suicide. Social isolation was identified as the most important issue by our delegates. The other 3 issues of poverty, inadequate housing, and transportation are all intertwined and are contributing causes of isolation. In our church, we heard issues of transportation difficulties for seniors, difficulty getting to know the neighbors because of language and cultural barriers, and poverty issues in our local school and neighborhood. We found that there are 2 major aspects to social isolation. The first is the decline of the neighborhood, which relates to the ability and desire to reach out and care for those who are geographic neighbors. The second is the inclusion and support of marginalized groups. Human relationships are best developed face-to-face, so we are developing geographic clusters of MVA organizations to work at strengthening their neighborhoods. This gives organizations working cooperatively a chance to think and act on local challenges and to develop solutions or support already existing local programs. For example, in Southeast Vancouver, St. Thomas has forged a strong relationship with the First Lutheran Church and is developing ties with South Vancouver Neighborhood House and the local elementary school to help support their needs. Within our clusters, we plan to reach out to different communities to work on eliminating this problem. One barrier that has been identified is the permit process for small local organizations, often organized by a single individual, to put on events in public places. Excess red tape and paperwork in the application process is preventing people from planning them. These events benefit the communities by creating opportunities for people to gather and have a sense of community.
Hi, my name is Frances Stone, and I stand here tonight on behalf of the Single Mothers Alliance of BC. We are a very determined, grassroots, community-building, leadership and advocacy nonprofit organization powered by single mothers for single mothers in British Columbia. I'm here tonight to talk about my personal experience with isolation. Isolation, by definition, is the condition of being alone. And that is exactly how it felt to me, like I had a condition and I didn't know the cure. As a union member for 20 years, I have always earned above a living wage. When I became a mother, a lot of things changed, including how much I could work. I couldn't afford daycare, I couldn't afford to stay in my community, and when their father went to jail, I ended up on social assistance. It was humbling, but it gave me the hope that we would survive. Life was hard. Everything was up to me, and me alone. Living in poverty, trying to feed my 3 children, dealing with the Ministry of Children and Family Development, and the stress of bankruptcy. It was a lot to try and explain to people what I was going through. It was just awkward. My life makes people uncomfortable. I wanted so much to be a good mother, but instead I was filled with shame with who I was in the world. I wanted to be strong, so I remained silent. Mother Teresa said something so wise. that the most terrible poverty is loneliness and the feeling of being unloved. I can relate to that statement all too well. It was simply easier to isolate than it was to explain. One thing that really helped me at this time was the Women's Empowerment Program through the Newton Advocacy Society in Surrey, BC. It was an oasis to me. It was there that I learned about the cycles of abuse, boundaries, and self-care. But most importantly, I was able to connect with women facing the same challenges as myself, as a single parent, and as a mother, as a woman. It was only then that I realized how much I hated and blamed myself for how my life had turned out. Empowerment for me came from understanding myself, and that has allowed me to feel compassion and forgive myself, which has been critical to breaking the cycle of poverty and isolation for myself and my children. Unfortunately, the Women's Empowerment Program was shut down due to lack of government funding. Isolation is the condition, and connection is the cure. Please honor the courage that it takes to break the silence by acting on what you hear tonight. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Frances. Thank you. We are starting on this journey to create a more inclusive, less socially isolated community. So, as members of the MVA, we are all committing to use the power of MVA to create sustainable geographical clusters where neighbors can get to know one another, build trust, and tackle local issues. To use the strength of neighborhood clusters to reach out to other communities, particularly Aboriginal, youth, refugee, and immigrant communities. To use the strength of neighborhood clusters to support other MVA campaigns around housing, transit, and poverty. The Alliance is seeking from you, candidates, to work with us to develop innovative solutions to social isolation and to reform the permit process to clear the way for small local organizations wishing to put on events. We look forward to working together on this important issue. Together, we will draw the circle wide. Thank you.
Thank you, Jane and Francis. I'm Sherry LaLiberte, and I'm here representing the nursing degree program with the School of Health Sciences. I'm also just finishing my PhD research looking at the impact of our socioeconomic environment on children's and youth's mental health. And I have to say, I heard heart-wrenching stories, and having interviewed 30 young people in the Vancouver area around how these 4 issues fundamentally impact their mental health. So just had to acknowledge that. So I'm here to introduce the transit group, and to just acknowledge that several of us tonight have made it here by transit, and probably several of us have also struggled to make it here, the transit issues that we face here in the Metro Vancouver region. So we know how important transit is to building a viable and a sustainable city. And so I'd like to invite and acknowledge Maria Robinson, who will now present MVA's transit proposal, followed by a short video expressing the views of transit riders and drivers.
Hi, my name is Maria Robinson. I am a member of the Our Lady of Guadalupe Tonantzin community. I am also the co-chair of the transit team. Demand for public transit has soared, but in the last 7 years, service levels have remained practically unchanged. Extreme overcrowding has eroded reliability and safety, especially for the elderly and the disabled. Handy Dart trip denials have increased 8-fold in only the last 4 years. Meanwhile, fare increases are negatively impacting the lives of the least advantaged. The popular employee pass and family discounts on Sundays and holidays, these were programs that benefited the environment, the economy, and the public, and they have been eliminated. Under provincial pressure, TransLink has cut routes that people depend on. They have reduced service or off-peak service hours to a point where people are left stranded at late hours. TransLink calls these steps optimization, but it is certainly not our service that is being optimized. This June, the Mayor's Council released a 10-year regional transportation plan. It advocates for more routes, more buses, and increased service all over the region. All this is good. It's a good plan. And we, the MVA, among many other organizations, support it. But is it enough? No. Even the mayors described the plan as neither everything we want nor all that we ultimately need. But it is a good start. The remaining issue is how do we fund this plan? Without additional sources of revenue, service is going to continue to fail to accommodate our increasing population. We support the Mayor's first choice of redirecting a portion of the BC carbon tax to sustainable transportation improvements. We want to be a part of the funding discussion, but we will not support fare increases. This is essentially a tax on the poor, the working poor, the disabled, the elderly, single parents, students, and others who can least afford it. And so a region-wide transit referendum is set for March of 2015. This referendum will determine how we fund the Mayor's Council transit plan. We need to have a transit system that will meet our present and our future needs. So we challenge the mayors to craft a question that shows vision and concern for the people of Metro Vancouver. We challenge the province to listen to the transit needs of their public. We must win this referendum. If we don't, we will see a further reduction in service. MVA is going to campaign vigorously for a yes vote. We are determined to get Metro Vancouver residents' transit needs met. With secured funding, we can then build on the Mayor's Council transit plan. Let's look at what we could accomplish. Transit can be made accessible and affordable, even to the most vulnerable of us. Climate change is the defining ethical issue of our time. Together, we can reduce our carbon footprint and not just maintain it, as the plan currently calls for. We call on our member organizations to support our transit referendum campaign, to rally the members of your own organizations and carry that message forward to the greater community. It is within our power to win this vote. Thank you.
Every morning, we're taking the buses out of the yard, and our job is to get people to work. And every morning, the buses are filling up as we get closer to downtown or wherever we're headed. And we start having to pass up stops because there's just no more room for people. And it's horrible to pass people because you know they just want to get to work. And it's happening every day.
I know that when I go to friends' homes or events that are away from the downtown core, the buses come a lot less frequently. I also know that areas that are quite a ways out, the frequency of buses is so spread out. It's so long between buses that it makes it very, very difficult for people to use it on a regular basis.
Two of my best friends, they're 92 and 89, and it's very difficult for them to take transit. So they are very isolated. They are riders on Handy Dart, but if you know anything about Handy Dart, that's almost impossible, almost useless.
Okay, what day? This is June. Still hurting people. I feel that I don't count and I'm not important. I'm just too bad, so sad. Privatization, I find, has made it so much more difficult to book a ride. I live in North Burnaby. I can't get a Handy Dart on Saturdays to take me into Vancouver because it's crossing a border. There was no borders before when it was nonprofit.
487 for Elizabeth McKellar on Lockdale.
That's me.
Okay, and you're calling to book what day?
I was wondering, Saturday the 4th?
Okay, just one moment. Okay, so Saturday the 4th, where would you like to go?
It's into Vancouver, 3494 Laurel Street.
Oh boy. Okay.
I use transit almost daily. Less so on Handy Dart, mainly because I was finding a lot of the trips that I was requesting were being denied.
People in wheelchairs, people that struggle to get on the bus, and they want to sit up front in the courtesy seats, and so they should. But when the bus is jam-packed, there's no room. And a woman with a stroller and a young baby, it's important. They don't need to be left out in the rain. They should be the top priority. And when the bus is full, and there's full bus after full bus, they're left out there. And that's not right. They should have the same rights to ride. There needs to be room for people.
I, on many occasions, have been stranded at a bus stop along that corridor during rush hour, where I've had to wait for 5 or 6 buses to go by before I picked up. That's an hour minimum, sitting, and that's happened to me during the winter.
I've been driving for 8 years, and during that time, a lot of things have changed. A huge amount of pressure is being put on to the whole system by the public for money and to economy and save money, and those are the priorities that we are feeling. It's understandable that transit has to run as an efficient operation, but sometimes those efficiencies are starting to have other costs.
Thank you, Maria, and to everyone who participated in making that film, who not only participated, but have helped produce it. In Vancouver, the gap between the rich and poor is growing at an astronomical rate. In the community in which I live and work, in the West End, there are 2 food bank depots. We see more and more folks who are working full-time, who are in food bank lineups, accessing charitable food. To present our proposal on making Vancouver a fairer city, please welcome my friend Gail Berger and Mary Lynn Diana and Lou Black.
Hi, I'm Gail Berger.
I'm a member of Gloria Dei Lutheran Church. The causes of poverty are many, but the results of inadequate income are obvious and costly in terms of health, education, crime, and family breakdown. In Vancouver, nearly 20% of children live in poverty. Even if a child grows up in a family where both parents are working, there is no guarantee that a family will not be poor. Minimum wage cannot lift a family out of poverty. In British Columbia, 43% of poor children live in a family with at least one parent with a full-time job. Metro Vancouver Alliance supports the living wage as a way of preventing poverty. Research shows that it requires 2 full-time salaries of a living wage of $20.10 per hour for a family of 2 adults and 2 children to have a basic but adequate income to live in the Lower Mainland. The benefits of a living wage are clear. Companies that have chosen to pay the living wage retain their employees. They have far less turnover of employees than companies who don't. Employees who are fairly compensated are more connected with the value of their work and have higher morale. People who are paid a living wage spend those dollars in their communities, contributing to the economic base. People who are paid enough to live on don't have to take 2 jobs just to pay basic costs. There is time after work to be with their children and participate in community activities. Metro Vancouver Alliance wants to congratulate New Westminster's City Council, which has already become a living wage employer. Introducing a living wage makes economic and political sense. A poll conducted by the Columbia Institute showed that 67.1% of respondents agreed that their city should adopt a living wage policy. You have the citizens of your community on your side to make Vancouver a living wage city.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Marilyn Diana. I came to Canada through the Live-In Caregiver program in 2000. The day I stepped into this country, I felt that this is the place I wanted to live with my son. I am a single mom of 1 child who was 6 years old at that time and is now 16. I raised my son by myself without any financial support from my son's father. After my live-in caregiver program finished, I found a new job at Vancouver Hospital as a housekeeper working for Compass, the private contractor. The wages were $9.50 per hour. Then we joined Hospital Employees Union and got wage increases. But still, we could not meet my needs. So I went to school taking long-term care aid for almost a year. It was a struggle for me and for my son because I went to school during the day and to work at night. When I could get home at 1 a.m. from work, I still had to cook for the next day and study for my lesson. I only have 2 hours sleep a night. Getting up early to make sure that my son did his homework before school and drop him in school in the morning. I could not get a care aid job because you're supposed to be on call, and the hours is not guaranteed. I'm scared to give up my present job for something insecure. Now, I'm paying off my student loans for almost $200 a month. I pay that, I pay my rent. My 3-zone monthly bus pass is $160. I also have to take the cab from the SkyTrain to my home because it's so late at night and it's not safe for me to walk and wait for the bus going to my home. The cab cost is $240 a month. I live in Surrey because I live in my relative's apartment and my rent is more affordable this way. Between rent, transportation, telephone, student loans, food, clothing, school expenses for my son, life insurance in case something happened to me for my son. I am very careful with my money, but still, expenses are more than my earnings. I end up overdraft in my bank account each month. I have no savings, no pension plan. My son wants to be an art teacher. I want to support his dream. But how can I support him to go to college? If I earn a living wage, I wouldn't have to worry about my son will get through school. I don't want him to be in debt like me, but it seems the only option for him is to take student loans. If I had savings, my son could start to build up his future after school instead of starting paying out in debt. Thank you for hearing my story.
Metro Vancouver Alliance commits to campaign tirelessly for every working person in Vancouver to be paid at least the Vancouver living wage of $20.10 an hour, to work towards all of our member communities becoming living wage employers, and to support the Mayor of Vancouver, Council, and City staff on introducing a Vancouver living wage policy. Candidates, Metro Vancouver Alliance is asking you to commit to becoming a living wage employer for all employees who work for the City of Vancouver and for all employees of companies who are contracted or subcontracted to work for the City of Vancouver. We also want you to promote the living wage to other municipalities and employers. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary Lynn, for sharing your story, and to Gail for heading up the Poverty Research Action Team. So now, next, to address, we're going to call on our members to present the proposals on making Vancouver a well-housed city, which is fundamentally interrelated with the other three issues that have been discussed tonight. So I'd like to introduce Tino Varelis and Fern Wainwright.
Hello, my name is Tino Varelis, and I'm a member of St. Augustine's Catholic Parish. Put any two Vancouverites together, and the conversation will inevitably turn to how tough it is to find decent, affordable housing in the city. According to a leading think tank, Vancouver is the second least affordable housing market in the world. Rising land values have led to spiraling house prices and a crisis of affordability. The average renter in Vancouver earns $34,000 a year. $1,400 for a studio is simply out of reach. The pain is felt across the full range of Vancouver communities, from those on the lowest income, forced to live in squalid, pest-infested, single-room occupancy hotels, to ordinary working families sharing overcrowded apartments. Young families are being driven away from Vancouver in order to find housing that they can afford. It does not have to be this way. This city has the power to make housing safe, secure, and affordable for all. What does it need to do? MVA asked them to start by strengthening and enforcing their own bylaws. This will ensure that the existing housing stock is well maintained and that tenants are protected from rent evictions. City bylaws are regulations that, for example, give the city the right to require that landlords maintain their property to a decent standard. Bylaws can prevent landlords from using renovation as an excuse for evicting tenants and bringing new people at a much higher rent. But these bylaws have loopholes, and all of them need to be tightly enforced. For example, the single resident accommodation bylaw requires landlords to find alternative accommodation for tenants when their unit is being converted and return them at the same rent when the work has been completed. There are many landlords that have not respected this bylaw and have used renovations as a means to evict tenants and raise rents. Proper enforcement of this bylaw would help to reduce the growth in homelessness that our city has seen. We also believe that this bylaw, which currently applies to only single-room occupancy buildings in the downtown east side, should be extended to all rental properties across the city. So we ask the city to work with us in ensuring that these valuable bylaws are strengthened, enforced, and extended. Through our member organizations in every neighborhood, MVA pledges to keep close watch on how these bylaws work in practice. But clearly, bylaw enforcement will not solve the larger question of how to secure truly affordable housing across the whole of the city. If you want to guarantee thousands of truly affordable units, there are two things that have to be done. First, we have to require that 20% of all new developments be built as and allocated as affordable. We propose that half of those be at the welfare rates and half be at affordable housing rates. We maintain that affordable means that housing costs do not exceed 30% of gross income. The second principle is that it must be forever. Affordability can't just be for the first tenants or owners. The answer is a covenant that applies to all new developments, locking in affordability for the long term. This proposal has the potential to change the nature of housing in Vancouver, making this city a place that we can all call home.
Good evening. My name is Fern Wainwright, and I'm a transit operator with Coast Mountain Bus Company. And I've been asked to reveal my testimony through the Metro Vancouver Alliance on behalf of my union, Local 111 Unifor. My story is no different than anybody else's. It's common and broad-based like the Metro Vancouver Alliance, and that's why I've been asked to tell it. It weaves itself through all of the action teams: social isolation, transportation, poverty, and of course, housing. I'm familiar with having to make a choice between a healthy, striving life and one of struggle. As a child in the interior, my family faced poverty, and they were forced to make a choice between running water in the home or feeding their children. Of course, they were going to feed their children and taught us how to pack water from the river. And as a college student, I had to make a choice between whether I should pay rent or eat. Again, I compromised my immune system and chose to pay rent. Housing and health should not have to be something we contemplate or choose. In our call to action in housing, this word renoviction was thrown around. I thought they were saying something wrong. I thought they were using the term renovation wrong, so I had to Google it. So I found a website, bcapartmentsbuildings.com, which seems to be associated with real estate and property management. And the term renoviction to them is not a word, and it doesn't mean anything. Renoviction is a trend that started in the West End in 2007, and it's implemented to, like Tina was saying, here's your rent. However, you know what? We're going to renovate this place and get out, and when you come back, we're going to jack the rent. But come back, no problem, right? So for me, my personal story, I've been subscribing to the cul-de-sac lifestyle for about 20 years, one of which I thought would last in perpetuity, which means not subject to termination. The big house in the suburbs, the big gas-guzzling SUV, big debt, big taxes. Now, recently a single full-time working mother, my life has been exposed to a renoviction of sorts. So my existence, as I know it, is being renovated, and I am exposed to a new type of lifestyle, one that I am no longer trying to pretend to afford. Downsizing this big life that I used to have is accumulating, proving it's harder than I thought. So now I'm going to have to rent. And the last time I rented, the most important thing to me in the whole world was my hair and whether my classes started after noon. And the reality is that renting in this city, even in a suburb near my workplace, and maybe a car payment thrown in there, is still going to eat away 60 to 75% of my paycheck. And I make substantially more than the living wage in the city. So in this call to action, I would consider myself lucky, but I'm average in this city. And the affordability in the city is what we're calling a crisis in the Metro Vancouver Alliance. It's unreasonable, it's unacceptable, and it's unethical. Thank you.
Thank you, Fern. And so, as the Metro Vancouver Alliance, we commit to make available to the Mayor of Vancouver and city staff personal testimony, community case studies, and all information needed to identify weaknesses in current bylaws. We also commit to work with our member institutions to develop innovative solutions to the affordability crisis. In return, we are asking you, the candidates, to strengthen, enforce, and extend bylaws which ensure decent standards of maintenance and protect tenants from renovictions. We're also asking that you make covenants a component in all new developments, locking in truly affordable purchase and rental housing in perpetuity. Thank you.
I'd like to thank all of our presenters this evening, as well as the research action teams who put in countless hours putting together our proposals this evening. I'd like to turn it over now to the rakes.
Thank you to the Rakes. My name is Joey Hartman, and I'm the president of the Vancouver and District Labour Council.
And I'm Andrew Wilhelm Boyles, and I'm deacon at St. Catherine's Anglican Church.
Okay, you have all heard the proposals, and you've also heard Metro Vancouver Alliance's commitments. They're also in your program, so you can all follow along as we now turn to the part of our evening that we know everybody is here for. In addition to hearing what we are about, to hear how the candidates are going to respond. And so now it is, candidates, your turn to respond. We're going to ask each of you to respond on the issues as we've put them forward, and we are going to push you for, in your minute, for a yes or no position. So we'll try not to interrupt till you get to your minute, but we are going to be nudging at you to really ask you, are you prepared to work with Metro Vancouver Alliance? We're prepared to work with you. We've made that commitment. You can see the energy and the commitment in the room, and we've been working 1.5 years to develop these issues, and so we want to know if you're going to be there to work with us.
I am going to ask people who are chatting in the room, please take your conversations out into the hallway. We do want to be respectful of all of the speakers here. So let's get started. I'm going to give you a mic, and I will interrupt you when it's time to move on, and you'll pass the mic to the next person. We have 4 issues, 4 candidates. We're going to start alphabetically with Adrian Carr on the first issue, and then on the second issue, we'll move it to Kirk LaPointe as a starting point and move through the candidates in that alphabetical order. So everybody will have a chance to be both the first speaker and the last speaker. But it is a very tight time frame, so we're going to be really nudging you along, okay? So let's make sure this is working. Hello, 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 hello. Can you hear that? Everybody can hear. Okay. So on the first issue of social isolation, starting with you, Adrian Carr, as we aim to make Vancouver a more inclusive city, are you prepared to work with us at Metro Vancouver Alliance to first develop innovative solutions to social isolation? And number 2, to reform the permit process to facilitate small local organizations who wish to put on events?
Yes and yes. And in terms of the second question, I actually started work on it because as a councillor received information about a group, for example, putting on a neighborhood party, Ross Street area in South Vancouver. They ran into the barriers you mentioned around putting their party on. I took their points, put them in an email to the city manager. Her response is, I'll get back to you. But I've started the process going. In terms of solutions to social isolation, number 1, we have to put people in charge of the neighborhoods and the places they live. The decision making has to be by those people who are living in an area to be truly collaborative in the decision making around what their neighborhood, what their place looks like. We have to bring place making into city processes, urban design policies that actually combat isolation. We have to look at things like creating more 3-4-story level buildings rather than so many high-rises. High-rises, do a study show, lead to more isolation. And finally, we have to, I can't wait for applause. Finally, we have to make sure that we fund neighborhood houses, community centers, community gardens, arts and culture, because they combat isolation.
Thank you. So that unequivocal yes and yes. Over to you, Kirk LaPointe, on the same question.
Yes and yes. So I am not the NPA leader that you might think you know. Okay, I grew up in poverty. I'm the product of a single mother who was a hero, who had to decide whether to keep me or keep my older brother. She sent my older brother away to live with friends. So I understand isolation. And I think we need to change our culture in our city from one of isolation to one of inclusion. We have to stop beating up on our community centers. So we're going to commit to work with MBA to develop innovative solutions around social isolation, just as we've committed to rebuilding relationships with other neighborhood groups, community centers, and local associations. I also want to put on the table our own idea tonight. I was saved by a lot of adults, and I think we need a mentorship network that links the passions and needs of children with the talent and time of adults. We can get that done. We're also willing to examine any potential solution to cut red tape, including service level agreements in our city.
Thank you. Perfect timing there. And so again, a yes and a yes. Gregor Robertson.
Thank you. Yes and yes on Vision Vancouver's behalf, and a big thank you to all of you for being here, and thanks for the focus on social isolation. So we have an extraordinarily multicultural city. That is our great strength, but we do have real challenges with social isolation. That's one of the reasons that I created the Engage City Task Force, which made a whole amazing set of recommendations around actions to enhance public space, to enable people to connect a lot more significantly in our neighborhoods. We have seen a lot of new events, celebrations, block parties in recent years. We've done a lot to support a lot more celebration and connection in our city, and we need to keep advancing that. So really important to facilitate the process. My mayor's working group on immigration is also focused on Sanctuary City and making sure that newcomers to Vancouver are safe here as well. So a big focus has to continue on making our city inclusive. It's a point of pride for many of us, but we have more work to do. Thanks.
Thank you. And finally, Mina Wong.
Thank you. I actually took part in the MVA consultation process on the social isolation. And I see that part of my recommendation has been being included here. And I have to say that there are 4 different elements in social isolation. There's cultural, linguistic, and economics. My mother was a single mother for 6 years before my father was allowed to join her. So I know what it's like to live in poverty. I have decades of experience in building bridges between diverse cultures, nonprofit organizations, and environmental organizations. The voice of immigrants and indigenous people need to be heard. I am an immigrant. COPE has indigenous people, candidates, to bring truth and consultation.
If you could just wrap it up.
Thank you. And we want to reduce stigma against low-income people, people with mental health issues, and other marginalized people. Yes, the answer is yes and yes.
Yes and yes. Thank you.
Thank you all. We move on to the issue of transit and the preparation for the referendum next spring. And this is a 3-part question, which will first go to Kirk Lapointe. Are you prepared to, 1, actively campaign and encourage your supporters to pass the transit referendum? 2, actively advocate for affordable transit in the region for everyone? And 3, participate in at least 2 MVA forums on transportation issues before and after the referendum. Mr. Lapointe.
Yes, yes, and yes. We support a referendum question that is fair, clear, and realistic. We've not made enough progress on the public transit front in the last 6 years. But we need to consider one thing, the implications of redirecting carbon tax revenue, because under law, the carbon tax must be revenue neutral. And the biggest beneficiary of that revenue are lower income British Columbians. So we're penalizing lower income to take that revenue away. So I can't support redirecting funds from them for this transit plan. That's just not fair. I think we need a new idea, or we need a new law, one or the other, and we need to do it very quickly. But I will vigorously advocate for a referendum that puts forward a fair and realistic plan, and of course, I'll commit to work with MVA at its forums.
Thank you. And Gregor Robertson.
Thank you. Definitely yes on all 3. Transit is enormously important to Vancouver. It's arguably the most critical issue we face over these next 6 months with respect to the referendum. So I've been a huge champion for transit, and that means better bus service across the whole region. We need a massive investment in more buses. We need the Broadway subway to be built for our east-west axis. We need to be sure that those pieces are supported in the referendum. We have to champion transit in the region and the referendum in particular. I must say I've been disappointed to not see a wholehearted, optimistic support from Mr. Lapointe and his party. We have to be champions for this. And that's going to be critical because we have support around the region, consensus of mayors around the region who are saying that we need more buses, we need Broadway subway, we need investment. We need that case made to the province and ensure that we win that referendum next spring.
Thank you. And thank you for observing the time limit, even though the clock was stuck and you thought you had another minute. Thank you very much. Ms. Wong.
I take public transit. I also drive, and I also ride an electric bike. So the best way to increase transit ridership, we believe, is to have a transit pass in everyone's hand. When they did in UBC, ridership went up 50% in the first year alone. What I want to do is to give U-Pass to Vancouver residents who want it. The program would be cost neutral, except for the opt-out subsidies that we will pay by rolling back Vision's tax cut to big corporations. At the same time, we need to increase transit services for the growing demand. COPE will fight for more services across the city, not just along Broadway. For $3 billion, we could add 400 new buses and light rails in every transit corridors all over Vancouver. Thank you.
And am I assuming, Ms. Wong, that that's a yes, yes, and yes?
Yes, yes, yes.
Good, thank you. And Adrienne Carr.
Yes, 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 and yes. I do have a proviso. We have not seen the question yet on transit, so the question must be fair. It must be clear, and if it must ask around preferences on how to pay for transit, not whether to pay for transit. I believe in plebiscite. Some of you have known my background in it. I was the head of the first plebiscite or referendum campaign for electoral reform, worked tirelessly on that. I believe in them. I put forward 2 motions for plebiscites this past term in council, one around cetaceans in captivity, and the second on giving people of the city a chance to vote on the Kinder Morgan situation. I was dismayed that my colleagues did not support that, and even one colleague from Vision saying that plebiscite would undermine democracy. That is not my belief. I will come to as many meetings as possible. Some of you who know
Ms.
me
Carr,
know
you're out
I
of time.
am. 3 seconds? Oh, sorry. That I go to as many meetings as I possibly can.
Thank you. And back to you, Joey.
Thank you. So a little variety in the answers there. Let's move on to the third issue, and as you can tell, they're going to get a little tougher. So poverty and making Vancouver a fair living wage city. So starting with Gregor Robertson, are you prepared to work with Metro Vancouver Alliance to first commit to developing a plan to make the City of Vancouver a living wage employer for all directly and indirectly employed workers in the city, and secondly, to promote a living wage plan to other municipalities and other employers?
Yes, and thank you for the questions and the position on this. So Vancouver is a great city and very well run, thanks to our city workers. Our city workers do an extraordinary job and make the city tick. And we have a very constructive and respectful relationship with our city unions for the past 6 years. We've enjoyed that in stark contrast to what happened before, an acrimonious relationship that we saw a garbage strike emanate from. We've changed that, and it's very important with the living wage piece that we sit down first and have that conversation with our locals, with our unions, and make sure that we put together as strong as possible an approach that respects the collective agreements and gets a living wage as policy in the city that we can promote far and wide. So we will focus on that. We came in our first action 6 years ago. One of our first actions was to call for a raise in the minimum wage. So we've been strong believers in this. It finally happened, but we need to go a step further.
Thank you. Mina Wong, same questions.
Thank you. Yes, we definitely support that. But I do have a question for Gregor, though. Like when you vision
Well, this isn't a debate between
candidates.
candidates.
Oh, okay.
You're responding to Metro Vancouver Alliance.
When Vision was approached in their first term about implementing a living wage, they said no. That's why I want to ask the question. And 2 weeks ago, I announced that COPE would take leadership by implementing a living wage for all city workers and contractors. I have also announced that we will implementing $15 an hour local minimum wage, starting with big hotel chains and chain stores. We will take leadership to amend the Vancouver Charter so we can do it, believe me. Recently, COPE invited Shama Sawan from Seattle. She is the one that elected to Seattle City Council, and based on the $15 minimum wage.
Thank you. Okay, so we're going to take that as a yes and a yes?
Yes, of course, yes.
Yes, okay. If you wouldn't mind bringing it over to Adrienne Carr, please. Same question, living wage.
Yes, thank you. Yes and yes. I really believe, and all of the Greens believe, I'm happy to see Cleta Brown and Pete Fry and Misha Oak here with me tonight. We are all completely committed to decreasing the gap between rich and poor in our society. It is shameful that the gap is increasing, not decreasing. In terms of the taking leadership, I would like to commend New Westminster. They've already taken leadership, and it's time Vancouver caught up and took leadership with them. And thirdly, I just want to let you know that we have, I wish we had more money to provide living wages for all the hours people work within the party. But we mostly have volunteers. And to honor our volunteers, when we had our recent fundraiser, instead of just saying, could somebody donate so much, if someone could only donate time, we valued their time at the living wage so that they would know just how incredibly important their time is. If we had the money, we'd be paying them that.
Thank you. And finally, on this question, Kirk Lapointe.
Of the 10 largest cities in our country, we have the lowest median income. In the last 4 years, the years that StatsCan has most recent data, we've had the lowest growth. So that unquestionably, the problem is getting worse. You've had 2,000 days with this government to get the commitment that you got tonight. How many more thousands of days before you actually see it come true? Other cities in our region, including New West and and Washington, King County, are committed to a living wage. And so we're going to commit to reviewing the impact of these, and we're going to take care of it. If there is favorable impact, we believe that we will do it within 2 years and complete it within the first term. In the meantime, there are other options that we have to explore in order to create higher paying jobs. Those options, I think, are all going to be on the table. But the answer is yes and yes.
Thank you. And so we look forward to working with all of you on that issue then as we go forward. Back to Andrew.
And so we come to the last issue, at least last on the list. And that's the issue of housing and making Vancouver a better housed city. And Mina Wong, I'll ask you to answer first. Are you prepared to work with MVA to strengthen, enforce, and extend bylaws to ensure decent standards of maintenance and protect tenants from renovictions? And will you work with us to make covenants a component in all new developments, locking in truly affordable purchase and rental housing in perpetuity?
Thank you. Vision Vancouver and NPA both took over millions in donation from the property developers last election, ignoring community and neighborhoods. Instead of wiping out homelessness, it is at its highest level in recent history, actually in recorded history. COPE's housing platform was developed in consultation with many grassroots community organizations. The first thing I would do is find out how all the housings in the city are being used. This will allow us to place a duty on vacant properties. People want housing for home first. This will also allow us to track rents so we can stop renoviction. Finally, COPE's Housing Authority will build and own affordable and social housing because we believe it is a part of city's infrastructure. Most of all, I want to continue working with the MVA to make Vancouver a city of everyone can afford.
That's your time. And do I hear clear answers to those questions?
Yes and yes.
Good. Thank you.
Yes and yes. This is a critical issue for, I think, every Vancouverite. Number one, we must change the SRA bylaw to ensure that SROs are matched to people who are on social assistance at the rate that they can afford. Those things are not in the bylaw right now. Second, we must strengthen the rate of change bylaw to protect tenants and ensure that a tenant relocation plan is in place before any building or demolition permit is issued. Third, we must ensure that the rate of change bylaw the bylaw that defines affordable housing defines it to be affordable. There's no point in having a covenant if it's on units that aren't affordable, and that's the case that is now. At $1,443 a month, that is not affordable to way more than half of those people who live in this city. And finally, we want to ensure that we bring in new housing like the Whistler Housing Authority does, requiring 10% on average of every new development of 10 units or more to be delivered at cost into the city to be rented or sold to city people.
The answers are yes and yes. Maybe at one point we'll get a question that we can answer no to, but I doubt it tonight. A couple of Sundays ago, I spent time touring SROs, and it was shameful what I saw. There were bylaws that were clearly not being enforced. And I think we need to commit even more strongly than we ever have to tenants' rights through strengthening and enforcing our bylaws. I understand the feeling of helplessness that low-income tenants often feel, because I've experienced it. I experienced it as a child when we moved around a lot. And I feel very strongly that our city's most vulnerable residents need to be better protected. Our city's housing system is broken. We have a patchwork approach characterized by backroom deals and spot rezoning. Neighborhoods no longer feel listened to. And so this has to change. So we're going to commit to a revitalized city plan as part of that. And we will discuss the role of covenants as part of our enforcement, as part of rebuilding our city with a city plan.
Thank you very much. Thank you to all of you. Sorry. We started with Mina, so Mr. Robertson, please. Yeah.
Thank you very much. And the answer is yes and yes. We have had an enormous focus on affordable housing over the past 6 years. Vancouver is a city that everyone wants to live in from around the world, and that's created huge pressure on our housing stock. But we have worked very hard to deliver affordable housing. Record levels of social housing being created over the past several years. Record levels of rental housing being created over the last 2 years, over 1,000 units a year. And we're committing to continue that pace for this next term. We've created a rent bank to protect renters from homelessness. We've made a lot of strides in cracking down on slumlords, in particular with enforcement. That never happened in the past, so this is unprecedented steps. The problem is still huge. We can't have the NPA continue to vote against social housing for over 500 units, vote against rental housing over 900 units. We have to press forward on this with all of the tools we can, and I will certainly be committed to doing that and protecting renters.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Robertson. And thank you. Thank you all.
So, MVA, how did we do? You know, the issues and the commitments that we put forward tonight, as we said earlier, are the results of a 1.5 years long of listening to people and researching and action teams. And what they've done is given us something to talk to the candidates about that we know is both concrete and achievable. And I think that within a minute of each person being able to say yes, we know we're not so naive as to think that there's not going to be some work to do in hashing out details, but we do thank you for your serious consideration and for your commitments, and we make the commitment that you won't have to do any of this alone because you have all of us to work with you. And so thank you.
Thank you all.
Now, we do have a little bit more program, and we do ask you if you could please stay on the stage as we complete it, and I'm going to invite Michael Marquette up to, here he is. Thank you. He's going to take his hat off. No, not. Because they can't see you up there. Flip it around.
I'm Michael Markwick, and I teach in the School of Communication at Capilano University, and I'm proud to do that, and proud to be with you tonight. This is what democracy looks like. And we're not going away. There are two important documents in your immediate future. I'm going to get to that in a second. But take a moment to look around this room. And always remember what happened here tonight. This is the night that fresh air came into the politics of Vancouver. This is the night when we heard testimony that we will never forget about the ways that the most vulnerable people in our community are hurting. They're hurting in transit, in poverty, in housing, and in social exclusion. And this is the night when we heard our candidates for mayor, and the candidates who are in the room presumably, commit to work with us, as we have committed to work with them. And for democracy to work, that means this is not the Hotel California. You can't check out. We can never leave. We're here, and we're here to stay. So the people in this room represent 400,000 voters in our city. And we, my friends, have work to do. But first, I want to thank the folks who allowed us to get into this room tonight. It was a big job, and it took many hands. So if you were one of the organizers who helped us get to this moment in the history of Vancouver, please stand up. Stay standing. There are so many people in this room who brought delegations in who are leaders in their communities. We are all leaders in our communities. If you want to take your place in making history happen in Vancouver through the Metro Vancouver Alliance, as a leader in the Metro Vancouver Alliance, please stand up. Come on, stand up. Stay standing. The Metro Vancouver Alliance has begun with this municipal election, but we're now about every election that affects our lives. We are not a one-issue organization. We're not a party organization. We are citizens united to build a politics that works for the common good. So if you are still seated, if you are excited about making this agenda that you have heard tonight work for everyone in your life, for everyone in your neighborhood, for everyone in your union, everyone in your community center, everyone in your place of education, everyone in your place of worship, please stand up. That was not a cheap way for us to get a standing ovation, or for me. Just stay standing. Okay, now, two important documents in your immediate future. One of them is this one. They're on your seats. So you've committed to work. You've committed to lead. Take a moment and fill it out and hand it to our organizers as you leave. The second important document in your immediate future is your ballot. I'm not going to ask the awkward question of who has not yet voted in a municipal election, because that changes tonight. Everyone you know, all 400,000 of them, are now part of us and mobilized with us, and together we are changing the history of democracy in Vancouver. We are the fresh air in democracy in Vancouver. And one final note. If you want to evaluate, because we're all about evaluations, you're going to find that out. Because we're going to be in public spaces after the election. We're going to be working for accountability together. If you'd like to evaluate the work we've done this evening, 10 minutes after we're done, stick around. It's going to be good times. Give yourselves a round of applause, everyone. And for the candidates, have a seat. And so you guys, so the candidates are with your permission, may we dismiss the candidates from the stage? Say aye. Aye. All right, thank you very much.
Also, please be seated. You'll see on your seats, too, that we have a Leadership Institute that's coming up in November, and that's when we get together and really look at what our power is together. So if you want to come to that Leadership Institute, get in touch with us. We want to know, the politicians tonight, we want you to know that we are holding you accountable. That after tonight, we are making our commitments, but we are holding those who are elected accountable for what they've said tonight.